June 12 has been designated by the Nigerian government as the new democracy day, which replaced May 29, where in the Fourth Republic on the 29th of May 1999, military government handed power over to a civilian-controlled government. The federal government today announced a public holiday to commemorate this year's Democracy Day. The announcement was made in a statement issued earlier today by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Magdalena Ajani, on behalf of the Ministry of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. Just so much that we need to bring on the program to you, so much information. So trust me, I hope it's not going to be an overload of information, but we've got to give you all of this information for your knowledge. But before we get into other news, let me give you some of your political roundup stories.
The Senate has urged state governments across the country to stop negotiations and peace accords with terrorists and armed bandits, warning that such arrangements often fail to yield lasting results and may inadvertently finance further criminal activities. The Senate also directed the police force and the National Cybersecurity Coordination Center to track and apprehend armed bandits who openly use social media platforms, particularly TikTok, to engage members of the public while displaying large sums of money believed to be proceeds of criminal activities. The resolutions followed a motion sponsored by Senator Sunday Karimi, who raised concerns over renewed terrorist attacks in communities within Kogi West Senatorial District. A group under the aegis of the United Against Terror has staged a peace walk calling on Nigerians to take stronger action against insecurity across the country. Leaders of the group say the initiative is aimed at promoting national unity and encouraging collective efforts to combat terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and other violent crimes. Addressing journalists during the exercise, the co-convener of the rally, Mr. Austin Okai, believes security should not be left to government alone, noting that every Nigerian has a role to play in safeguarding lives and properties. The governorship candidate of the People's Redemption Party in Rivers State, Honorable Nature Kege, has pledged to address insecurity, youth restiveness, cultism, and criminality across the state if elected governor. Kege made the pledge while speaking to journalists upon his arrival at the Port Harcourt International Airport after receiving his certificate of return from the PRP in Abuja. According to him, the decision to seek the governorship seat was driven by the worsening poverty and insecurity in the state. The Amalgamation of Regional Youth Organizations of Nigeria has called on young Nigerians to close ranks across ethnic, religious, and political lines and support efforts aimed at promoting national development and stability. The coalition also passed a vote of confidence on President Bola Tinubu's administration, citing ongoing reforms in the economy, youth development, infrastructure, and energy sectors as evidence of progress under the Renewed Hope agenda. In a statement issued and signed by its national president, Ibrahim, the group cautioned against actions and rhetoric capable of deepening divisions in the country, stressing that national development requires collective commitment and patriotism.
Let's tell you what happened today on the floor of the House of Representatives, where some lawmakers decided that they won't go to plenary or they won't be sitting to debate the state police bill until the minority leader has been announced. What we saw is a dramatic twist in the decision of the new minority leader, where Honorable Ugo Chinyere was dramatically dropped, and a new rule has now emerged to determine what it means to be a returning lawmaker and who fits to be a leadership or a principal officer in the House. Let me allow you to listen to the chant by the opposition lawmakers when they were walking into the chambers.
House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria, the minority members of the 10th Assembly hereby unanimously nominate the following members by consensus to fill the vacant positions of the minority in the Parliament. Number 1, Minority Leader, Right Honorable Frederick Y. Abedi, PhD. Please, can you stand up for recognition? Number 2, Right Honorable colleagues, is the position of Minority Whip, and the person they have endorsed is no other than Right Honorable Manu Soro Mansour. The last but not the least is my brother from the Northwest, in person of Right Honorable Abdul Samad Dasuki, for the position of the Deputy Minority Leader.
So the House leadership thereafter announced Honorable Frederick Agbedi as the new minority leader of the House. But again, what then happened, well, after a little bit of calm return, was that the House of Reps today has adopted a report on the proposed establishment of state police and approved 18 constitutional amendment clauses as part of ongoing efforts to reform Nigeria's governance and security architecture. The report was adopted during plenary, which was presided over by the Speaker, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. The Speaker announced that constitutional amendments to establish state police garnered support as 289 votes were in favor, 1 against, 0 in abstention, with a total of 290 votes cast. This was the moment where the adoptions and the debate went on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, we received this document this afternoon. We cannot be able to know what is in this Constitutional Review Committee. What we want is
Honorable
that, Mr. Speaker,
Bashir,
allow us to go and study this book
and
come back and discuss about this issue. Our Nigerian military agencies or security agencies, are they funded very well that they cannot be able to tackle the issue of security? Mr. Speaker, we have so many lapses.
Honorable Bashir, you have
we should
been
do
heard.
justice to Nigerians.
It is okay.
We should be afraid
You have made
of
your
what we're going
point.
to
You can sit down, please.
We are going to make
Sit
a
down.
judgment.
Honorable Bashir,
God will do his own.
if you don't sit down, I will take disciplinary action against you.
We better be careful.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
Sit down, unless if you want us to revise to ethics and privilege. It was already something that we are very familiar with.
No, that's not true now.
All the series of
Point of order.
The electronic voting system is right now not working. So we are going to do head count, one after the other, to ascertain that we have the number to actually pass this amendment. Those in support should raise their hands. Those in support of this bill, please raise your hands.
How can we be? Are we primary school students? What kind of thing? Showing the whole world our weaknesses. What kind of thing is this?
289. My own vote and that of the DS.
Mr. Speaker, you do not have a vote.
289.
Only 2 people are against. 3, 4. All right. Please record 4.
Say aye. Those against say nay. Let's have it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
So that was how it all went down. Albeit some controversy, disagreement about the voting process. But I imagine that, is it quite 2 years now that they refurbished and renovated the chambers? Now the electronic voting is no longer working. Interesting, isn't it? Well, we'll see how that works. But in the Senate, we're seeing also the debate go on in the Senate. But we now understand that there will be a recess for about 3 weeks, and the lawmakers are to return sometimes in July to continue their sitting. So that's so much of what is being achieved as far as the state policing bill is concerned. Today, one of the sad days in the history of Africa geopolitics. We've seen yet again the intolerance and the sad scenario which played out in South Africa, leading Nigeria to evacuate its citizens from that country. Nigeria today brought home the first group of citizens evacuated from South Africa following a fresh wave of xenophobic attacks targeting black foreigners from African nations. There are 258 returnees who arrived at the Lagos Murtala Mohammed International Airport aboard an Air Peace flight earlier this morning, and they were received by government officials, including the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Shola Enikongolaye. They were accompanied by representatives of Nigeria's mission in South Africa, led by Acting High Commissioner Temitope Ajayi. The evacuees were assured of the government's commitment to their safety. At the reception, Minister Enikongolaye says Nigeria will not stand by while its citizens face harassment, violence, or intimidation abroad, describing the evacuation as a swift response to protect Nigeria's caught up in that unrest. Let's now speak with one Nigerian who has been speaking for Nigerians who are in diaspora, and she leads the Diaspora Commission. He's a former member of the House of Representatives and the Director General of the Nigeria Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri. She's live for us virtually on the program tonight. Thanks so much indeed, Honorable Abike, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you very much. Nice to be with you this evening.
Appreciate your time. So sad, a sad day for Africa geopolitics. And this is something that no one should ever imagine would happen, especially from a country like South Africa, which we share some interesting history. How does this come to the federal government of Nigeria? What is the official position of the government of Nigeria about this?
Well, first and foremost, well, it was, as Ambassador Nicolai said, it was mixed feelings. There's this lady who told me, you know what, I have a spa in South Africa. I closed it down. She returned with her 3 children. And she said she will open a spa in Nigeria. Hopefully she gets support. So it was one of mixed feelings. Happy that they were home, but stand that this is happening on the continent of Africa. And I'll tell you something about those 258 that came in. None of them committed any crime. The only crime they committed is the color of their skin. They are black migrants in South Africa. So everybody was happy that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ensured their return to Nigeria. And then also on ground was MTN, who gave 100,000 naira to each one of them, transferred to them, and then 50,000 airtime. And then the starter pack. Governor Hope Uzodinma gave 1 million naira each to indigenous of Imo State, and we're hoping that other states will follow suit, because the president said something. He said they must be reintegrated back to society. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had paid fully to Air Peace to ensure that these Nigerians would come home. Now we are onto the reintegration state. So NEMA was on ground to provide transportation. Refugee Commission will follow up with reintegration. NIMC was on hand to provide NIM for them. MTN, like I said, gave 100,000 naira, 50,000 naira, and then Crockstone, another private real estate firm, was on ground to give them some cash. So it was a very, very seamless multi-agency collaboration. And we called on state governors to do what Governor Hope Uzodinma did, reach out to the indigenes so that they can help with their reintegration.
Whatever these 258 Nigerians are watching tonight, on behalf of Channel Television, our heart goes out to them. Displacement is not one of the easy things in life. When you've got your life totally set out for you as an adult, with family, with your business set out, like you said, the crimes that these people committed is because they are Nigerians. And the hatred some South Africans have for Nigerians, it's unbelievable. Have Nigeria as a government been able to identify what exactly is the root cause of this hatred? This hate.
Look, you just said it. It's just hatred, because we have been on this for a while. Look, Nigeria has a binational commission where these issues are discussed. Nigeria has an early warning signal mechanism with South Africa, which they delayed in signing. I doubt if it's still signed yet. And the early warning signal mechanism was to ensure that if there's any trouble, any problem, the security agencies, there's an early warning notice, and then they will be able to do something. But I tell you, they did nothing. So what is the hatred? Now, they will tell us that they're taking their jobs. What jobs? The woman has a spa. It's not anybody's job. There's a man who came back and he told us that he has 4 businesses in South Africa. He has returned to come and start a new life. And what most of them said to me were, look, it's getting very frustrating and most importantly, dangerous. Imagine a 9-year-old boy I spoke with at that place today. When he goes to school, they're just teasing you, this Nigerian boy. And then the teacher will say to him, so, I think he has whatever your name is. So the mother had to say to them that my son has a name. Don't say that to them anymore. And she said she's gone through this all her life. She's been there for 20-something years. She's not going to let her children go through this. So it's therefore, I think Africa as a continent needs to look at this because it's not just Nigerians. We have a large number, as of course because of our population, but it's hatred towards fellow blacks. Okay, look, I've been to South Africa many times to meet with them, to engage with them. There was a time they said, oh, they take our girls, they take our jobs. It's like, how? So really, it's something that, beyond Nigeria now, we shouldn't keep looking the other way. And for Nigerians in South Africa, if I'm glad President made this happen and more will be coming, and just between the range of 700, 800 to 1,000, as we said earlier, will be coming back. And for those who still want to come back home, will always be home. But here's the thing, they need to get back into the society. Some of the questions being asked by Refugee Commission is, what are your skills? What would you want to do? And that will be the next stage. And I'm sure they will not regret coming back. However, like I said, it's tough. It's really tough, leaving everything you have. One man is going to come, but he says he has to sell his car and his house and then return home. Yeah. They're done. It's really a very sad situation.
Let me say this. Honorable, and you, as a former journalist in practice, you know that, and you probably have reported when South Africa was in crisis as a nation. And I call it a nation of ingrates. Tonight, I've got to be brutal. On behalf of Nigerian people, that country is a nation of ingrates who lack understanding of their history. Nigeria or Nigerians are not the kind of people that South Africa would disrespect. And I want Nigerians to understand tonight what exactly are the steps that our government is taking. And I salute the likes of Senator Adams Oshiomhole's very strong stance against South Africa, because South Africa cannot keep quiet. We are not South Africa's mates in any sense or any manner. When they were down, when they were in trouble, when their backs were down, Nigeria stood up for them. They are not the kind of people that should look us in the face, spit in our face, and attack our people. What is Nigeria's own stand as a government on this very terrible, bad behavior?
You use the right words. Terrible, disappointing, painful. However, what Nigeria will do in terms of bilateral relations, you'll hear from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and maybe even the presidency. But honestly, enough is enough. Enough really has to be enough. But whatever will be done, you'll hear from the higher authorities. For us as a commission, we've been engaging people to people. We've gone there many times to talk to our own people. But I'll tell you something, like I said, none of these people that came back committed any crime in South Africa. And they hide under crime. If one person commits a crime, get that person, hunt that person, and deal with that person. You cannot generalize. But don't forget that it's not just Nigerians, but we have a higher number. So it's something inrooted in them. And the government is looking the other way. I think that is the sad part. Security is not arresting anybody. You do anything and get away with it, and they're looking the other way and doing nothing, which is where it's actually unfortunate that Africans are taking away the people from South Africa. So something will be done, but that will be answered from the level of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and above.
Honorable, for many of these returnees, this is not simply a journey home. It's a very sad, painful one. It's a loss of businesses, loss of jobs, loss of savings, loss of livelihoods built over many years. Is Nigeria considering compensation? You've mentioned a few other things for them. reintegration support. Is South Africa also, because what then happens is that they start to loot their businesses, forcefully take over their business, and you hear them literally giving ultimatum. You are Nigerian, we want you to leave. We gave you ultimatum of June, leave our country, leave our country. You see them, and they are not ashamed to say it on television. And you hear opposition party in South Africa condemning it. Unfortunately, the government of South Africa is not bold enough, not man enough to be able to stand up to this. And there are those who say, we need a diplomatic sanction. We need a diplomatic stand-up to South Africa. But beyond that is the fact that these people that are coming back home, they've lost their livelihood. They left everything behind, forcefully. What are the permanent bases of settling them back home?
One thing is certain, bringing them back home is not the solution. It's going to happen again. Don't forget that this is not the first time they're coming back. So it's not a solution, but it's a temporary solution. So in terms of what will happen later, yes, compensation should be looked at, but most importantly, for them to get their lives back. For the man who closed that 6 businesses, how is he going to start again? So that is where Nigeria, through all the subnationals and all that, needs to now look at that. And at this point, I want to appeal to state governors to ensure reintegration of their citizens. For instance, someone that is doing a business, how can you help the business? Like I said, Governor Uzodimma gave them 1 million naira each. It's going to get to their accounts maybe by tomorrow. That's a start. But net Refugee Commission is asking, what are your skills? What can you do? So like the woman who set up a spa in South Africa, she's going to set up that spa in Abuja. She says from Anambra State, but her mother is in Abuja. So it's an ongoing thing, but our responsibility is to stay in touch with them, find out how they're doing, and see what more can be done, so that by the time you're seeing them, they'll be telling you good stories. And at the end of the day, who knows? It's going to be, of course, much better for them to be back home, although they had to do that because they had no option. They had to do that because they had to escape from a dangerous situation. So bringing them back is what we're doing today, but it's not the solution. And I tell you, it's not going to end, because the government of South Africa doesn't seem interested in taking a tough stance to this very embarrassing situation facing us on the continent of Africa.
So would we say simply that our diplomatic engagement totally fell apart or failed?
Well, our diplomatic engagement is still ongoing. Diplomacy is always about having a conversation. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs is still engaging our counterpart, and I'm sure the 2 presidents will be talking more about this. But for now, let's just take care of our people. Let's ensure their safe return. So we're glad this first batch are home. We're going to have another batch coming in, I think 3 to 5 batches. Let them come back home. Let us ensure that they're well taken off when they come back home. And again, the subnational government at the subnational level have a major role to play in this regard. And then other agencies, SMEDAN and all that. So there's a multi-agency synergy and collaboration. We're going to continue meeting regularly and taking the next steps under the leadership of the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria.
Madam, and I like to hypothetically put these to a lot of Nigerians tonight. You imagine you meet an American on the road and you have in your mind to attack such an American, or you think that you can humiliate an American or a British citizen on Nigerian soil. One thing that comes to mind naturally would be their country will come to their aid. Nigerians are highly disrespected, not only in South Africa, in many places. Perhaps they think that our country may not stand up for us. And I wanted to, on behalf of so many Nigerians, that this is going to be a very big statement in the manner in which President Tinubu handled this. Not only evacuating our citizens, is the manner in which our president stand up for Nigerians, the safety of Nigerians in hostile and violent environment. And I saw the deal that the Minister of the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are having in Ethiopia in getting back some Nigerians and safely returning them home. There are people who are with bad behaviors in some Nigerians who do bad businesses and bad behavior in some part of the world, those who are giving us bad names. But generally speaking, what do we need to do as a people to ensure that we are no longer disrespected? We are a great nation. But when our reputation is being muddied in the sand in countries that are even smaller countries, it's not a good thing. Are we working on our PR as a country? What are we doing such that our nation is not being dragged and our citizens humiliated abroad?
The only problem is that only bad news travels fast. Having been chairman of the Diaspora Commission, I can tell you that if anywhere I go, I'm proud to be a Nigerian. Nigerians are highly respected and they are very well treated. There are few cases, which is what trends. So you have one bad case, I'll give you 10,000 cases where Nigerians are excelling and are being celebrated. However, and that's what we do in the commission, we want to celebrate those good stories. We want to talk about ourselves. Let's use Nigerians in the diaspora to rebrand our image abroad, and that's what we've been doing. However, if I tell you, oh, this Nigerian succeeded, see what they did, nobody will talk about it. You just keep quiet. But when you say, oh, what Nigerian did this, it becomes the news. Even these media organizations, when they come here, they're only looking at the bad. So here's the thing. We must tell our own story. Now, you go on TV, you tear your passport, you talk down on your country. How do you want other people to also look at you? So when you celebrate that one person who is busy talking about Nigeria, bringing Nigeria down, you are bringing yourself down. And that's what we tell them. So when you go abroad, start condemning your country, call them names, you are bringing yourself down. And they are bringing you and I down. For me, I'm proud in Nigeria, unapologetically Nigerian, and I carry myself that way. And that's what we tell our Nigerians abroad. You see, if you tell me one bad person, I said I can give you from the tip of my fingers 100 in that same country. Even this South Africa. The best doctors are Nigerians. The best engineers are Nigerians. The best lecturers are Nigerians. But it's getting to the stage where even these professionals want to leave because it's getting dangerous. So, yes, the government of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu has always said, will ensure you don't suffer for a crime you didn't commit. And that happens a lot. We receive a lot of petitions. We deal with them, and we've intervened in many cases. However, we ourselves, we have to behave ourselves. And a lot of Nigerians do that. And then secondly, we stop talking down on ourselves and our country. If you've talked down on yourself, let me give you one story very quickly. A woman said she was coming to Nigeria, an American, to celebrate her 70th birthday. He was a Nigerian in that country that said, don't go. Oh, you'll be kidnapped. This will happen. She came. And she's been coming for the past 4 years to celebrate her birthday in Nigeria from America. So she asked me, why do you do this to yourselves? That is the question we should put to all of you, the Nigerians. You see, this is what happens. You disrespect your own Nigerian passport and say rubbish about your country, and then use social media to say anything about your country, your government, and the people. It has its implications, it has its repercussions. But for us, as a commission and as a government, we'll do what the president told us to do, ensure the welfare of every Nigerian at home and abroad. And for those who bring cases to us, we take them up. There are many cases where we say, no, this cannot happen, and we got justice. But we also have to behave ourselves. There are some Nigerians who went to a particular country, got on the street, and started fighting the police. What do you want us to do in that regard? I say, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a vampire, and some blood. There's nothing we can do. But most Nigerians, 99% of Nigerians are well behaved wherever they find themselves. We have to talk about that, celebrate them, and that's the narrative we need to put forward about ourselves and our country.
One final word I would like from you, Honorable Abike Dabiri, this evening is a very chilling news tonight to hear, and I'm just imagining it's not a crime for you to want to live outside of your country, because you have a lot of non-Nigerians, foreigners, who live right here on our home soil. And I'm not sure that you would find a more welcoming environment like the very good place in Asokoro, in Maitama, in Guzape, or you go to Owerri, or Benin City, or Lagos, or Ilorin in Kwara State, or in Kogi State. Nigerians are welcoming everywhere. We love to see strangers. I see my Ghanaian friend. Oh, my Ghanaian friend. Are you Kwasi? Or are you this? Are you that? We even have Ghanaians walking on national television in Nigeria. We have Zimbabweans. We have this, we have that. Nigerians are welcoming people. We thought that we could be one nation. We thought that we could be one nation as an African continent. But this is really sad. But for you that being in the Diaspora Commission for this long, what do you think needs to be done more? President Bola Tinubu is a leader of the African continent. Nigeria is a leading nation on this continent. We need to fix this. This is not a Nigerian problem. This is an African problem. What do you think needs to be done urgently?
Well, you've said it. Mr. President has been showing leadership and he will continue to show leadership. This is something that Africa has to take up as a continent. And it's not about lip service anymore. It's too much. Honestly, when you saw those people today, those 282 people, it was very chilling, like you said. So leadership on the African continent to say we have to stop all this. And then, like you said, listen, and then who is telling our stories? We are not telling our stories enough. We rather condemn ourselves. You just said it. Nigeria is when people come to Nigeria, we see so many people, they keep saying, how come this is not what we're hearing about you guys abroad? So the media, you have a major role to play. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's celebrate the best of who we are as Nigerians. So let's stop condemning ourselves. You don't have to like me or a government official, but don't destroy your country, Nigeria. I think that's what I have to say. And then for the commission, we celebrate Nigerians extended all over the world. And we're so proud of that. But we need to push that out more. All of you, social media, television, radio, let's celebrate the best of ourselves. Now, when you say they're profiling you, it has nothing to do with government. It has more to do with us and how we project ourselves and what we say about ourselves. I just told you of this lady who has been coming. She has bought a house here in Nigeria, and she didn't stay in Lagos or Abuja. She moved to, I think it's in the east. So really, it's about all of us. And let's tell good stories about ourselves and stop bringing ourselves down. This is the effect of all those things like that. Let's celebrate who we are. We are the best. Yeah. We are warm, we are hospitable, and we have a fantastic nation. Yeah. We have everything. We have human resources. Yeah. We have material resources. President Tinubu is doing his best to make Nigeria a greater country. He's done tough reforms. They are tough, but that's the hallmark of a courageous leader. They are tough reforms, but we get that. And then if you travel around, particularly on the African continent, honestly, you will be happy you're a Nigerian. And like I said, everywhere I go, not because it's me, ask many other people, once you're a Nigerian, they want to be your friend. The narrative is changing. Let's join this change. They want to be your friend. They want to know you. They want to know your music, your food, your culture. That is what is happening now. Let's ourselves take our country, work with the president to build a greater Nigeria. We are going to where we should be, which is the top of the mountain. We'll get there. And President Tinubu is doing everything to make this country a better nation. As a people, we have to play our role. You shall have to play your role. Collectively, we have the best country in the whole wide world.
All right. Honorable Abike Dabiri, thank you so much. Indeed, you know that over the years, there's been a distrust between the Nigerian people and government. That deficit has always made some Nigerians think less of their country because bad leadership has been what has been prevailing in our country over the years. And also, you look at it, there are those bad eggs who give the nation bad name. You can't take away the fact that there are those who are into very terrible businesses who make us look bad. But the question, just a moment, Honorable, and I understand what you're saying, but the point I'm making is that, yes, these downsides are there, but I'm of the opinion, and that's why, for example, NOA, over the last several years, NOA has been a very moribund agency, but in the last few years, you see the campaign about the real Nigerian, being a proud Nigerian, and the consciousness that we need to be proud of who we are. That consciousness needs to be there. There need to be lessons in civic to our children in primary school and in secondary school to understand the basic of wanting to become a Nigerian. If that is not taken, nobody will be proud to say, I want to be a Nigerian. In my own life, I've attended free schools, and I know what this nation has given to me. I'm proud to be a Nigerian. I'm made in Nigeria. My name is given to me by Nigeria, so I cannot look and talk less of my country. But we also need to talk to our brothers and sisters who are giving us bad names wherever they are, and all the governments that are also giving us bad names. The reason why they are not trusting you is because you have not risen up to the occasion. Government needs to be serious too. But thank you so much, Honorable Abike.
Let me tell you my own thought on what you have just said.
Yeah.
You made me lose my thought now. Look, it's about all of us.
It's about bad eggs, bad governance.
And then it's not even about school. It starts with me. As a parent, what value am I giving my children? As a parent, what am I teaching them? What am I showing them? We should lead by example. Yes, leadership. There are challenges in leadership. Many things that have to be dealt with. And Mr. President is doing all that. A lot needs to be dealt with. But you know what? It takes two to tango. The leadership must get it right, so must for the followership. So for me as a parent, what value am I giving to the younger people? What am I teaching them? So I don't have to wait for the schools to teach my children civics, or even children that I don't know, that I'm influencing their lives. So it starts with you and I. And then let me tell you, to line up, we must have a change in our moral values. As a people, we celebrate money, we celebrate corruption, and we celebrate immorality. And I think social media has made things even more terrible. Look at what they celebrate on social media. Let somebody in the diaspora, for instance, win all the awards. Nobody will talk about it. But let them see some stupid thing. Maybe some couple is doing this, somebody is exposing themselves. It trends. So there must be a new awakening of moral consciousness. It's not just about the leadership. Who grows to be a leader? Somebody that's been stealing from day one, you now rise to the topmost position, you continue to steal. And then there must be sanctions for bad behavior. When I call people out, they tell me, oh, you are doing this. There must be sanctions for bad behavior. If there are no sanctions for bad behavior, it will thrive. Right. So a lot is happening, not because people are corrupt or greedy, because there are no sanctions for bad behavior. And for those who behave badly, I call them out in the diaspora. And I say, don't spoil my name, because one bad apple should not spoil the whole bunch. So my message is, don't let the bad spoil the good. A lot of us are good. 99% of Nigerians are. Let's call out the bad and not celebrate them and encourage them. So you have a role to play, I have a role to play. And we must play that role and collectively make our country the best in the world, which we actually are, the best in the world. So, ever probably Nigerian.
You are one. You used to be one of us. We donated you to government and governance. But thank you so much. Honorable Abike Dabiri.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you. Come and contest elections.
I've told you before, Honorable, that leave me here. This is my constituency. Let me serve it properly for the interest of the variety of Nigerian people. But thank you so much indeed. Always a pleasure having talking to you tonight.
Thank you.
Well, we take a break, everyone. But when we come back, there's more problem in the NDC, but the national leader and the NWC are saying, look, we've got control of our problems. But beyond all of this, also, the state of the nation. We'll be talking more about this when we return. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So, let's continue on some of the issues bearing on the state of the nation. But before we get into all of what concerns you and I, security, the economy, governance, especially as June 12 is around the corner, earlier today we saw the national leader of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Senator Seriake Dixon, with himself and the national leadership of the party, the NWC, addressing and clearing the air on some of the controversies and issues that have been raised by aggrieved members of the party and some aspirants who believe that they were fraudulently schemed out of the issues and the raised and the primaries elections that have been conducted. Today, they were clearing the air and asking those who have been given tickets in the party to control their supporters. Specifically, Senator Dixon said, for example, Ms. Aisha Yusuf was offered a House of Representatives ticket, but she refused, according to him, that she said she was bigger than that. And this is one of the examples of some of the issues that have been generated in the aftermath of the party's primaries. Take a listen to some of what the leader said earlier today.
We have Dr. Sadi Ado, Deputy National Chairman.
This party is a party for all Nigerians. They are now, by the decision that this party has taken, they are flag bearer, they are our flag bearers. And we have no issues with any of them. If I were running, or you yourself were running, and you are given presidential nomination to advise what party you want, Has the party not done everything for you? Has the party abused? No.
Let's be sincere to ourselves now.
There was no primary contest. Nothing. And as I said last night, I or the chairman or nobody here demanded or received any money from them before accepting them to the party. No monies were demanded or received from them before making them sole presidential candidate running mates. Kaba. What else do people want? At this point, we should be working together to plan how to kick off campaigns, and I believe we'll still do so.
Well, that's the national leader of the NDC, Senator Suriaki Dixon, earlier today. So let's touch on some more state of the nation issues. You see the xenophobic attacks happening on Nigerians and some African citizens in that country, and the issues back home here, insecurity, economic issues. Now, Democracy Day is tomorrow. Let's get some conversation around some of these issues. I'm being joined by the Director General, Civil Society Organization for Community Advancement and Humanitarian Empowerment Initiative, Mr. Kumle Yusuf, who is live for us in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Yusuf, for your time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow is Democracy Day, and there are a lot of Nigerians who will be asking, have we seen the dividend of democracy? And by the way, since your organization is also has some of his mandate on humanitarian issue, see what is happening to Nigerians who are returning from South Africa, the xenophobic attacks. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, thank you so much for having me tonight, and I appreciate this opportunity. Just straight away to your question. It's painful, it's disheartening that this is happening to Nigerians. Listen to what you've said. South Africa is not a nation that's supposed to have done this to us, but this has been done. What do we need to do? So it's to pragmatically develop a concept that will improve our diplomatic relationship, and also the federal government of Nigeria should also begin to review international sanctions on the country that are not friendly to Nigeria. It's done in the whole world. But like the chairman of the commission have said, I don't want to go in much into that. The Minister of Foreign Affairs will take that up, but it's necessary for Nigerians for diplomatic relationship and diplomacy within a global radar. We have to review our diplomatic relationship and international sanctions that will give us a guide and build our image globally. And again, for the state...
Would you say, in view of Democracy Day celebration tomorrow, Nigerians will be asking, have they seen the dividends of democracy?
Oh, good. That again is a very big question, but I'll just go into the issue, supported by logic, science, and data. So as a trained negotiator and social development expert from civil society background, are we moving forward? Yes. I say at speed, gradually. So dividend of democracy, yes, we've seen it, but it's not as expected. So what do we need to do for federal government of Nigeria, for Nigerians to see the dividend of democracy as expected is the question and the answer. But for the question, have we seen the dividend of democracy since 1999? Yes, we've seen it, but it's not as been expected. And what are we need to do as a government for Nigerians to enjoy this dividend of democracy quickly? One, the federal government of Nigeria should first, empower the judiciary, strengthen the intelligence, create a collaborative relationship with accredited civil society, and build a structure around transparency, budgeting, and accountability. Once we do that, it will be easier to skate through on dividend of democracy. Thank you.
But look at what is happening in terms of security, the economy. The question that a lot of people will ask, and if you're talking about democracy, especially under this government of Bola Tinubu and the APC, is whether or not we are moving forward, we are moving in the right direction, in the right of the citizen, the ordinary Nigerian being respected, are their hopes dashed or hopes kept alive? How would you assess the situation of the country under this present administration?
Thank you. As one of the national leader of civil society organization, especially the accredited member, on the security issue, you know, there are two approaches to it, right? We have conventional security strategy and also non-conventional one. So as a social development expert, I will go into non-conventional one. From civil society background, in few years, civil society organizations don't have that robust relationship with security authority. But in the last 4 or 5 years, let's say the last 4 years, particularly in the last 2.5 years, we've created a relationship with chief of civil military relations in defense headquarters. We've created a relationship, working relationship with chief of civil relation matter in the chief of army staff, and we are working collaboratively with the IG operation. So it means that as far as the architectural and engineering of security concerned, we are getting better, but we need to do more. And the strategy we need to adopt now is a national homegrown security. We have to begin to look into a strategy that will be developed to strengthen the homegrown security for development of our security engineering. And in this case, it is important for the federal government in Nigeria to adopt the concept of MPH and the HCDs. Simple is adopted in Singapore, they use it in Bangladesh. So the homegrown strategy security is a formula that will also help everybody to control the system and let the local government council control the street architecture, the security architecture of their local government, in partnership with community leaders, civil society organizations, and other notable institutions that can support the government in enhancing the security architecture of the country. So every strategy that is not supported by the principle of logic, science, and data, plus pragmatism, honesty, and meritocracy, it will not work. So for everything to work well...
So the promises, Mr. Yusuf, the promises made by this government, and when you are counting the indices based on promise versus performance indicators, would you say this government is on track?
Well, you know, globally, there are 5 indices you use to rate performing governance, all right? And the first one right now across the board is the Global Sustainable Development Goal, Global Agenda 2030. The second one that you use to rate the performing government is recommendation of COP 30. The second one is Agenda 2040, and the third one is Agenda 2063. Now, in all of these indices, Nigeria is on track. We've seen the indices on the right path, but there are indicators and targets that the government should have to do to increase or improve the indicators. So as far as the indices submitted by United Nations to rate the good governance of the country, we are not crawling, but we are not on high speed.
So the question is, the government says we are making tough policies, but the question is that are the gains being felt? Because a lot of the Nigerian people will say we are feeling more of the pain than the gains promised. Is it hope dashed?
Well, as far as we have moved into economic development discussion right now. We were on security before. Now, on the promise, the government promised the nation, it's by manifesto, okay? And then the last 6 months, we set up a committee of about 27 leadership of accredited civil society who has been moving around the state by state to do scoring and rating. By end of July end, we should be able to have a conclusive and robust conclusion about the indices of good governance, whether the government has already is working with the promise he made based on the manifesto, or whether they have derailed. But as far as the global concern is concerned, as far as the global rating is concerned, all the indices that the government, everybody uses to rate the good governance, we are on track, but we are not as speed as how we should be. And if you give me time, I have an indicators and indices to submit all this. But as far as the security...
Sorry, I probably will have to bring you back. Mr. Yusuf, Director General, Civil Society Organization for Community Advancement and Humanitarian Empowerment Initiative. Many thanks. We're totally out of time, but many thanks for having you tonight. But that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. Tomorrow is June 12th and Democracy Day. I've got some very interesting conversation in this part of the timing of the program. So join us. Our full day coverage for you on the channel. We'll be right back tomorrow. Thanks so much, everyone. I'm Kumle. God bless Nigeria.